Hello, guys. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all safe. Today, I thought of making a short video on my FT1, Yaesu FT1. It's a classic rig. I think came in the early 80s, I suppose. Well, a little history on this. I got the opportunity to pick up two of these, actually, two along with one FT902 Delta mic. And one of the FT1 was totally fully loaded. It had all the filters, the keyer, the memory unit, and all that. And the other unit had the keyer and the memory unit, but not the filters. And both had problems. And anyway, I'm not making this video to discuss those issues, although those were repaired very quickly. And I had been using it for a few years. But for the last 2 years, I had not really used the rigs, although it was connected to the main supply. And today's discussion is about the memory, the backup memory for the FT1. As you know, it uses the MN1203 IC, I think 1203, MN Mike November 1203, two I think on the board. And these are very old. It's old technology. At that time, this was the flagship, costing probably 4 or 5,000 US dollars in the early 80s. A very expensive one, and very few hams could really afford it. So now, because it was not used for a long time, I do not know what happened. Although it was plugged into the AC mains, as long as you keep the rig plugged into the AC mains and it has the backup, it has the memory unit installed, and the backup switch at the back is switched on, then it should retain whatever channels you choose. Let me just go here. These are the knobs. So whatever bands you set using these two knobs, it should retain. And even when you power down the mains power switch, this is the mains power switch. So even when you power it down, it should still retain the memory. Unless there is a power outage, then everything gets wiped out and then you need to program again. It's not a big thing because hardly we really have any power outages. Once in a couple of years, yes, it does happen in the entire province, or sometimes the entire country just goes down that way. But it's not very common, fortunately, in this part of the world. And now, I just wanted to, warm up all my rigs a couple of days ago. I've had shelved amateur radio for a long time, and then dusted everything, and then brought up the amplifiers. I made another video on my ACOM 1500, and everything. The amps are okay, but this rig, all the other rigs are working well. This one, only the memory issue was there. I saw that, let me just power it on, and this is what you get. I hope you can see it's all 000s here. So this is how you get it. And yes, you can always, tune it that way. Or if it is 00, you can always go back to, set a band, and there it is. And if I suppose switch it off, it is connected to the AC mains. But then when I power it on, goes back to 00. So this is the issue that I am seeing. And of course, I have two units, as I mentioned. One of the unit, this is the unit which I had sort of kept it as a spare, because the receive frequency slowly drifts. And so I kept it as a spare one. And the other rig, which I was using that way, that one is a little stable, more stable than this. These rigs are known to drift. The crystals are known to drift. But the one which you see here, the open one, this is pretty stable compared to this one. So in fact, I made this as fully loaded with all the filters, everything. And of course, this has the memory unit, only the memory unit, that's it. And of course, the keyer. This has everything, filters, keyer, memory, everything. Now, this is the rig that is not working. The memory part is not working. Just to simulate Yeah, because I had already opened it and checked a few things. I didn't want to again flip it. As you guys know, these are pretty heavy. It's really back breaking. And I thought of simulating it using this rig just to give you an idea for some of you who may have the unit or may not have the memory unit. Now, let me quickly switch on the backup switch, and then you'll see how it works. Now it is 00. I'll power it off, and then very quickly I'll switch on the backup switch. I hope I can find it. Yeah, now it is switched on. But since the memory had zeros, when I power it on, again it will show 00. Now suppose I set, say, 7 megahertz. You can keep this in any position you want. Now it is in 7 megahertz. I hope you can see that in the video. Now I power it off. And the backup switch is on, set to on position. Now, because it is connected to AC mains, the power actually goes unswitched through a transformer, and that goes to the backup unit. And I'll come to that later. My checkpoints, how I went about checking everything. Now, when I power on, because the backup unit switch is switched on and it has the memory unit, so it automatically came to 7 megahertz. So this is how it should work. So this I wanted to simulate and then show it to you. Now let us go back to the other rig. I'll just power this down. And this rig here, I'll bring the camera a little closer so that you can get a better view of it. One moment. Okay, now this is the view from the back of the FT1, and that is the switch. If we, it's out of focus. Okay, if we turn it to the right here in this view, it goes to the off position. Left is on because the rig is now upside down. And that when it is on, it gives a continuous power supply to the backup unit, which is bypassed by the, it doesn't go to the main switch, the power switch of the rig. So once this cable, I'm sorry for the shake, once this power supply is connected, the backup unit continuously gets the power supply regardless whether the rig is on or off. And now here I have actually opened both the top and bottom, and here is the view. And this is the transformer. I'm keeping my finger because the plug is removed. Please be careful because there are high voltage everywhere, all over the place, so you need to be cautious. This is the transformer that gives the backup power supply, and the DC output, actually what happens is this is the tap for different voltages for different countries, I think, but right now it is for, they say in the manual 100 volts, but anyway 100, 110, 120, so those are the taps. And the two red wires you see there, that is the AC output from the transformer, and that goes to, I believe it is pin 2 and 4. So pin number 2 and 4 of this connector, actually this connector on the other side you see, this is for the regulator board. And as some of you may know, FT1 uses a modular system throughout, very nicely made, like mill grade. So pin number 2 and 4 are the AC input, and pin number 1 and 3, 1 is ground, as you can see, it is wrapped to the ground point there, and pin 3 is the output. You typically get about 13.5 volts DC when the plug is in and the AC mains is on and the backup unit is on, then you'll always get about 13.5 volts on pin number 3. That is the backup, and that is the output. In fact, the rectifier, just the rectifier is on board this board, this regulator board. So it takes in the AC, rectifies, and then gives the output there, and that wire that you see there, it comes back, and I believe it goes through other circuitry, and then that is what comes to this switch here. And there you switch it on or off, And when you switch it on, that actually goes back. I think it goes back to pin number 42. So in this case, pin number 42, I just measured. Pin number 42 is on this side. Yeah. So I need to check again whether the output is coming there. It should come there. In fact, I made a mistake. I was measuring on the other side and was very happy that the output was coming. But then from the switch, it should come to pin number 42. And that I need to measure. And I'll just switch off the camera for now. Let me measure that and come back to you. It's difficult to actually, and it is a little risky with the camera making the measurements, especially when we have AC mains all over the place. And I'll also have to maybe turn the continuity check on the switch. It seems okay. With the power supply removed, AC mains removed, I checked the switch here. This is the switch. This is the switch. And the contacts seem okay. I was able to check that. The only thing left is whether from the switch, and it goes to I think a Zener or a diode, regular diode, it comes back to pin 42. And I'll check that and then be back. Okay, now the power supply is connected. You can see this is the socket. We have the cable connected and the backup switch is on here. Now, as I mentioned, these are the AC input. Now the DC output, because just the rectifier is on the board, the regulator board, that goes in through the circuitry. It should come to the backup unit pin. That is, it feeds in the 13.8 volts. And as you can see here, I hope I can get it on camera. So when I check on pin number 42, I should be careful. We have AC everywhere. And that is, I hope it's not a mirror image there, 13.54 volts DC. So that is the, it is feeding into the board, and then I need to see what happens in the circuitry inside. And whether there's a break there or whether it is the board itself. As I said, we have the old memory chips. So I need to check that. So I need to turn it the other side, other way around, and then pull out the regulator card and then check that. Of course, it's very easy for me because I do have another rig there, you can see, in which the memory is working well. I can swap it out and then check. But I just wanted to figure out, and for the sake of the video, wanted to do some troubleshooting on camera. It's very easy actually. If I plug in the other board, things may start working, but then probably that is required. I do have the cartridge connectors. If you need to probe, then you need to I'm sorry, not the cartridge connector, the extenders. I do have the extender for this one. Matter of fact, I do have the original manual as well, the service manual. Of course, it is not required, it's not essential, but it's always, because we do have the PDF versions available on the internet, but I do have the original technical manual, the printed one, the original. And for those who do not get access to, it's always nice to have a printed version, but the PDF version is available on the internet. So let me just now flip the rig, remove the regulator card, and then I'll be back. Okay, I have put back the bottom cover because I don't think it is really needed now, because I have checked all the points, checkpoints, the voltages, everything seems to be okay. It's very unsafe, especially with the weight here. So I thought it's better to put the bottom cover back. Now it is upright, and as you can see, I need to remove this, whatever you call this. I think, what's the name for this? Anyway, I need to remove this, and then I'll have access to the regulator board as well as the control board. I think that is where the memory module is located. So once I open this and then pull it out, I'll again be back on camera. Okay, I have now removed this plastic cover, the one which was sitting on this here. So I had to just pull out these tabs here, the four corners. And so this is the first unit, is the control unit here. So this is the control unit board. And I think I need to remove 4 screws now. One and one on the other end. It's here actually. Yeah, you can see that. Then this screw, and then this screw. So these two will come off, 1 and 2. Once that is done, I'll have to pull out this connector and then pull out the control board. That is where the memory module sits, and once I have that, I'll come back. Well, I just cheated on myself to speed up. I anyway removed the control unit. I didn't pull out all the cables, the plugs. Just wanted to quickly check, if there's any problem with the board. So this is where the memory module sits. Just removed whatever the essential cables, that's it. I pulled it out from here, from this socket that you see. And here is the memory module, the other way. Yeah, so it's in focus. And what I did is, this is a good one, I suppose. The one which was here originally, I pulled it out and then placed it in on this rig. I opened this up. This was a working rig where the memory was working. And when I placed the old one here, in the sense the one removed from this rig, it behaved the same way, in the sense it did not retain the frequency on power when I switched off the power. With the backup unit BU switch on and the supply connected with the power switch off and again on, it lost all the memory. So I suspect it's the old one. This is from the other working unit. So let me see if once I plug this in, if it works, then I can leave this rig aside and then use the other standby rig. This is in any case my standby rig. I can use that rig to test further, but I don't think much can happen because this is the first time for me, but as many people have already tried, there's hardly anything in this. Just 2 active devices, those memory ICs, capacitor, a few resistors, that's it, and nothing else. And I don't think anything can be done if these ICs have gone bad. Although I do see on the internet that some people have heated up the IC or sometimes even touched up the solder. I didn't see any reason why I should touch up the solder because it looks pretty good to me. But then I might try that as well. Nothing is lost since it's not working now. So anyway, I'll insert this here in these sockets and then put it back, insert the cord back, power it on, and then see how it goes from there. I have now put the good memory module back. It's in there. Fortunately, I had not removed any of these connectors. Actually, every time we remove it and then push it back, there is a little strain on these very small thin wires. And let us see. Although it was not a major repair work, it was. I was lucky that I had the spare unit, and made life became a little simpler. Power on. And on camera, I think you see the zeros going sequentially. Actually, it's pretty stable. Now let me type in say some frequency. It's 14 megahertz now, and the BU switch at the back is on. I think it is on. Let me power off, and then power on. It should retain the frequency, which means that the BU unit at the back is still off. Let me just check. Where is it? I think I have switched it on. Let me now key in, say, 14 megahertz or whatever. Oh, error. 14 megahertz. Okay, switch off. Okay, so it retained the memory. For this session, I think this concludes the video here. I will later, I'll put the covers back, and then this is my station rig, at least one of the rigs. I will start working on the spare unit. There's no point in disturbing the station rig now that it is working. So on this unit, I'll put the extender cord, and then just out of curiosity, I want to see which of those two ICs have failed. There are two memory chips on that. Not that it matters to me now. I don't think these are available. Just out of curiosity and for the sake of other people who might be interested in this, I'll try to debug and see which of those ICs is not working, and we'll see what happens after that. So in conclusion, yes, I do have a completely working rig back to life again with the memory. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching the video.